friends and educators, it's Carrie from thrivingwiththerminator.com, and if you're anything like me, you love interactive notebooks, but thanks to the pandemic, we've had to go fully digital. So this is my answer to that problem. This is all about how to make and create digital interactive notebooks.
So I usually use a paper INB or interactive notebook in my class. It's something that I've incorporated into my class over the past 7 years. So thinking about what this new school year will look like, and assuming that we are going to want to minimize paper interactions, I thought about how I could convert my paper interactive notebook into a digital project or product. So that's kind of what's led me to where I am now with my digital interactive notebooks. You probably have a lot of resources that you could actually already use, things that you've been using in your classrooms already, and maybe you can just convert them into digital files or PDFs you can save as images and students can type on them or write on them. Think about some of the main templates that you use in your classes already. Do your students use Cornell notes? Do they use KWL charts or Venn diagrams? Those are the kinds of things that you're going to want as master slides so that students just can just put them into their notebook wherever you want them. And then you also have to decide what you want your notebook to look like. So whether it's going to look like a composition notebook or whether it will look like some other product, those are the things that you really want to think about before you sit down and start creating. So when you're deciding what you want your notebook to look like, on the left-hand side, you can see that it is two-sided. Basically, like a notebook is open on the table, you would see a left side and a right side. And if you do traditional paper interactive notebooks, you know that left side, right side are kind of a huge deal with paper interactive notebooks. Or you can decide something more like what's on the right-hand side, just seeing one notebook page at a time. So that's something that you have to decide what you're comfortable with before choosing to go forward. At PowerPoint, it usually brings you to this screen and it asks you to choose from different kinds of templates. I'm just going to choose this blank presentation, and it usually pops up something that looks like this. And it might give you some ideas over on this side, but I'm just going to kind of close that out. So you get to choose which layout you want to have your notebook in. Some people choose to keep it in this kind of widescreen or wide frame, especially if they're making like Google Hyperdocs that have a lot of different things on the page. They like to be able to spread it out. Or you can go up to the design and the slide size, and you can choose to, let's say you want to keep it, excuse me, in this kind of landscape style. I would change it to the size of a piece of printer paper. So you could choose to make it 8.5 by 11, or my personal preference would be portrait view, which would be the same measurements, 8.5 by 11. And I'm just going to click scale up. And now let's say you printed this out or you wanted to print some of your notebook pages, it would print out to scale on a regular size piece of printer paper. I'm going to kind of set up my notebook, and because I have chosen to do it this way, you can certainly choose to do it landscape direction so that you could have an open notebook, but I'm just going to show you this way. I am going to come up to where it says view. Okay, and I want the slide masters because these are going to be pages that are not editable for students, so they can't go in and tamper anything that's in the background, and they can only type in where you want them to type. So I am going to set up my home slide, or my first slide that I want everybody to be able to see. So you have to decide whether or not you want a desk, or do you want a sidebar? So I am going to come up here to home, and I am going to insert a shape. So if I wanted a desk, I would just kind of draw a shape. I probably wanted it a little bit wider on the sides. And then I'll just make sure that it's centered. There we go. And I'm going to smooth out the edges a little bit. And I am going to choose to have like a wooden desk. So this would be the desk that they would see, but you notice that there's not a white slide there anymore. So I'm going to insert one more shape, a square, and I am going to make it the size of my page, which was 8.5 by 11. There's certainly an easier way to do this, so let me just, there we go. Okay, and I'm going to center that on the page as well. I am going to make this white, and now I have a page, so where my notebook would be. So you can certainly do it with a desk. I am actually going to highlight both of these, right click, or if you have a Mac, it's a 2-finger click. I'm going to group them so that one won't accidentally move. So if I move the whole thing, both of them move at the same time. So that's what it would look like with a desk, or you can choose, I'm going to insert another master slide so that I don't have to change that one. I'm going to delete all of these here, and same kind of idea, you can decide to have a sidebar instead of a desk. So I'm just going to insert a shape over here on the side. I'll make it a little on the big side here. So you can have, make sure it's centered, a sidebar. I'll make it gray with a black border there. So instead of a desk, you would just have this place that you could go to. So two totally different styles here, one with a desk and one with a sidebar. In the slide master view, and this is my original slide, the one that we had just built, and I want to start building my master layouts, and I am going to make my notebook. So to do that, I am going to insert a shape. And I like the one that has the rounded corners here, so I'm just going to kind of build that out. Make it a little taller over here. Good. And smooth out my corners a little bit. And this is all just personal preference. And I'm going to fill in that with a picture, like a composition book, and change the outline to black. Okay, so I'm going to insert one more shape. It's going to mimic the binding on a notebook. So again, just personal preference, nothing that you have to do. So I'm going to fill that in with black and outline black. Good, so now we have a composition notebook made. So I'm going to add in one more shape. Let's go back up here. And I'm going to center it a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to fill it in with white and outline black. And this is where I'm going to start using my insert placeholders. So I'm going to group all of these shapes together. So if I accidentally move something, they will all go together. But I'm going to come up here where it says insert placeholder, and I'm going to click text, and I'm going to draw in a text box here. Okay, so I'm going to erase all of that writing and that bullet, and let's put it in the middle. Let's pick a fun little font, I guess. And let's center it. Okay, so the reason why I did that placeholder is because when I use this in my normal presentation, that's going to be the only place that students can write on this slide. So they'll be able to click everywhere else, but on this slide, it will be there. So let's take a look. Let me go out of slide master, and let's say I want them to use their notebook cover, so they would just click here, and again, this is the only place that they can write. So we just made our first notebook design. You have to decide whether or not have to decide whether or not we're going to use icons or tabs to kind of navigate. So what do I mean when I say icons or tabs? I'm going to go to insert, and I am going to look for some icons. So usually I have a home button. I have a question button, like so hints and tips for the notebook. I will have a warm-up section. Mittens, get it? Warm-up. But I'll do fire instead, right? Warm-up. And let's see, I have a table of content, so something that looks like a checklist maybe for the table of contents, and notes. Get it? Notes. So I'm going to insert those on my page, and I'm just going to kind of, they're all together right now. So I am going to arrange them however I think I want them to be arranged on my slide. You can have them all on the same side, or you can split them up. Okay. Let me do. Put them fairly close to each other. I guess I could probably space them out a little bit. Okay, so what I would do is I would hyperlink them. So if you do your 2-finger click, you can hyperlink. And then in this document, you can choose whatever slide that you want to link it to. Now, I don't have very many slides built in yet to do this, but you can link it and hyperlink it. So when you load this into Google Slides later, all of your icons will be linked. So what I am also going to do is I'm going to, maybe, there we go, highlight them, copy them, so Command C, and I'm also going to put them here. I'm just gonna link them. So then my hyperlinks will follow. So that's how you can choose to do icons that are hyperlinked to various slides. Using those same icons, I can just copy and paste them in. I'll have to move them over a little bit, but so you can use those same kind of hyperlinked icons here, or what some people prefer to do is to have tabs on their notebook. So that's totally up to you. I'm going to use this half box, half rounded section here. So you can use tabs in the notebook the same way that you can use the icons. So let's say you want this to be the front cover. Let's copy and paste it. We'll put another one over here. You can have this as the table of contents. We'll copy and paste. We'll do another tab. This will be your warm-up section. And then you can have another tab for notes. So now you have all of these tabs. Let's line it up a little better, I guess. There we go. You can change the color of them. Let's say you want them to match the notebook, I guess, or maybe you want them to be all different colors. You can change the font to black so that you can see it better, bold. But then the same thing applies. You can link these. So if you 2-finger click, hyperlink, same deal. In this document, you can click whatever slides that you want it to be linked to. So then you would go through and just kind of link those on all of your next pages. So tabs work the same way as the icons. I am back in Now you're going to want to start designing your master slides, or your layout slides. So we've just designed our notebook. We decided that we want to have our icons up here. So now we're going to start making what we think kids will use in class. So things that I use frequently are Cornell notes, KWL charts, Venn diagrams, T-charts. So I'm going to make those things in my master slide layout so that students can just pull them from the layout section and they won't be able to change anything in the back of the slides. So I'm going to, let's just start, let's say you want a table of contents page. So I'm just going to start making that. It won't be perfect, but I'll just kind of show you what that might look like. So let's pull a fancy font here. And maybe you would want a table for that. So I'll put that in, and you can choose whatever style table that you would like. And let's say you want this as slide contents, and this will be slide number. And they can link those. So this is where it would get a little tricky, or take up a little bit of time. What you're going to want to do is come in here and you're going to insert a text box or a insert placeholder, and I use the one for text. Delete all of this out, and also don't forget to change the font, or else it'll just be really huge in their notebook. And that's that. So whenever they use this slide in their notebook, they will get a pop-up that says click to add text, and they won't be able to change anything. Like, they won't be able to move the table around or change the table. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a second. So you're going to place your text boxes where you would like the students to type. And I know you're probably going to want a lot more, but just for showing you what it'll look like, I'm going to go back to where it says Slide Master. I'm going to close it out so that I can show you. So let's say that I have, this is where my notebook looks like. I'm going to say, okay, kiddos, let's just add a table of contents, so they can go to their new slide and click the table of contents. So if I try to click on all of these other spaces, I can't change anything. The only place that I can put it in is here. So they could, slide number, let's say, 12. Okay, whatever's on there, they can actually highlight this, and they can hyperlink it. So double click it if you'd like, do your 2-finger click, and you can hyperlink it to page or slide 12. I don't have a slide 12 in this presentation, but if we had one, I could hyperlink it. And it will also work if you transfer it over to Google Slides. So there's one way to make a master. I can show you one more master slide as well, just to kind of show you what I'm working on. I am back in my Slide Master view, and I'm going to make one more template just so you can kind of see how I do it. I am going to just make a KWL chart. I'll start with that. So I'm going to insert some text boxes. I'll pick out a fun font here. So unit number, title, and then any notes or thoughts that they might have. I might make all of these a little bit bigger. There we go. And then I am going to insert a table because I want to make my KWL part. I'm going to change that table because I don't really like the looks of that. Okay, I don't want the outside borders, and I want the inside borders to be thicker. So let's see. There we go. Oh, my outside borders are still there. There we go. All right, so let's kind of design my KWL chart. Just doing a little formatting here. I'm gonna pick out another font just because they're so fun, and make the font a little bit bigger. All right, so KWL. And this is where I'm going to come in with my placeholders. So insert placeholder, I'm going to pick the text box, and I'm going to erase everything that they have in there. And don't forget to go back and change the font, because for some reason it auto generates to giant font. And there we go. So I'm going to move this one and then copy and paste some more. Any notes or thoughts that they might have, I'll make this one a little bit bigger. All right. And now I'm just going to kind of come in and type in a little bit of direction for my KWL. So what do you already know about this topic? What do you wonder or want to learn more about this topic? And then for my last one, there we go. Okay, when you have finished the lesson or unit, come back and fill in what you've learned. Okay, so now that should be all set. Again, when I exit out of Slide Master, so we have our cover, we have the table of contents that they can type in. I'm going to say, okay, guys, I want you to do a KWL chart. Pull it up. They can't click on where it says unit or anything like, oop, they can move that though. That's their placeholder. But they can't move the KWL chart itself, but they can click to add text. This is unit number 5. And they can, I'm not sure what to think. And then they can just go in and fill in these things. So there's another master for you. I am back in my slide. When you finish designing your notebook in PowerPoint, and you very well could have done it in Google Slides to begin with, I'm just more familiar with PowerPoint, you're going to open up a blank presentation, and you are going to come over here to File and Page Setup, and you want it to match your the size of your notebook. So I'm going to change this to 8.5 by 11. Okay, so that it matches the side of my notebook. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to import my theme. I want to upload, and I'm going to drag in the notebook that I just kind of created for you, and wait just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to click on this one. And there's my notebook. So it uploaded. It's starting with a blank slide. Unfortunately, nothing is hyperlinked here yet because I don't have any slides in this notebook. But there's my notebook, and if I wanted to change the layout, I want my slide, right? I want my notebook slides. Then they just have to go in and put in their name, and they can add a new slide. We're going to start with the table of contents, and we're going to add another slide because we're ready to start our unit, and let's do our KWL. The fonts didn't transfer. If you want to save special fonts, I would recommend saving your slides as a picture and uploading them as a background. But if you are stuck or if you need anything, please reach out to me and let me know. When you finish, this is my first digital notebook that I plan on using with the students this year. So I went with icons at the top, and they're all linked to very specific things. So this will always be my home page. It goes back to the first slide. This is my table of contents page. So if I click it, it'll take me to my table of contents. My science starters will take me to that page there. And then I have sticker pages for the kids if they want to play with that. My stars over here are my success criteria or my standards for my first unit. And then this question mark is links and information that students can use to work in their notebook, and it has different information for them to click on and visit. So when it's all kind of put together, students will start here. They can come up into the layout, and I've made all of these as master slides so that students can just kind of choose whatever they would like. I have 13 different cover variations for my notebooks that students can use. I have a blank page, I have notebook pages, I have my Cornell slides and my different templates that I've made. A lot of my content I've also made as a master slide, so that way students can't change any of the information, they can only type on it. The good old notebook paper, there's that KWL chart I showed y'all how to make, and just kind of other things that I thought might be useful. So some thoughts about making your digital interactive notebook. If you have used a paper notebook in the classroom, you already have an outline of what you need to do or include in your digital interactive notebook. But I would always say have a plan. I'm a planner and I have a plan for everything. So definitely just kind of have an idea of what you want to do. Maybe backwards plan. What's the goal that you need to get to, and how can you get there through this notebook? Keep an open mind because you can really put anything in these interactive notebooks. You can insert videos on pages for students to watch. You can do drag and drop. You can do matching. You can have them use lines to kind of match up words and phrases. You can even do coloring with Google Draw. So there's really no one way to do a notebook. Whatever works for you and your students is going to be your best bet. Keep in mind that if you try to fit like a whole semester into one file, the file is going to get big, it's going to get laggy, and it's going to be harder for students to find kind of the files or the pages that they need to find in the notebook. So my recommendation is to do one notebook per unit, which ends up being somewhere probably around like 30 slides, maybe a little bit more. And then also collaborate with your team for resources. You never know what somebody else might have online or digital already. So reach out to your coworkers, your colleagues, and see what they might have that you could put into your digital notebook.
I know that was a long video, so thank you so much for bearing with me. If you found this helpful, remember to hit like, subscribe, and share with anybody you think this might help. And if I can help you in any way, please feel free to reach out to me at thrivingwiththerminator@gmail.com, and I would be happy to help you make and create your own digital interactive notebook for your hybrid learning class or your remote learning class this year. Until next time, bye!